What is Manchester City's best starting 11 moving into the new season based off transfer rumours and official signings? We think this is a very interesting conversation to have. Who will Pep field? If you say to him, put out your best starting 11 for this fixture, we want to see who it is, who will he pick? I think it's a great conversation for you lot to get involved in as well down below in the comments. Hit the like button, helps us massively. Subscribe if you're new, and of course tell us down below in the comments your thoughts on our selections and who would your selections be. I know everybody will have different thoughts and different opinions, you know, with the amount of players we have and the fluidity at our disposal. Everyone's going to have different ideas as to how Manchester City and Pep should line up with the strongest starting 11. We're going to pop up the team we chose on screen for you to see right now. If it's controversial, that's perfectly okay, but let us know down below. And like I said, just to preface it, it is based on current signings, current players, official signings, and potential signings, potential outgoings, just with the way the world is shaping up kind of thing. So we've gone for Ederson and Nets. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. I think Ederson, you know, people have been critical of Ederson in the last 3, 4, 5 months, and sometimes I don't understand why. Sometimes I can kind of go, maybe he could have done a bit better there. But the fact of the matter is he is one of the world's best 3 or 4 keepers, I think. And the thing with Ederson is, whilst he may have his flaws sometimes with shot stopping, he is the best with the ball at his feet in the world, if you ask me, in between the sticks. And that is exactly what makes our team tick. He is almost as valuable as a midfielder with the way he can pick out passes. So Ederson, listen, I don't need to talk about Ederson anymore. Moving into the back four, it is basically the best back four we had last season, if you ask me. When they're all fit, they're all healthy, they're all on form. What you see on screen right now, people, I'm telling you, it is Manchester City's best back four. Cancelo at the left. People will say Robertson is the best left back in the world. I believe it's Cancelo. Absolutely, for our system, it is Joao Cancelo. Similar to Ederson, very creative player, allows our attacking players to be fluid and move around. We have the ball so much that we don't need an extremely defensive left back. We can allow our creative fullback to move into the middle of the park and make crazy passes and get assists. That's why for a fullback, Cancelo's stats are so outrageous. Diaz and Stones, people will say Laporte. We're going to pop up on screen right now as well beside it what we believe could be maybe the second string team or players that are on the fringe of the best starting 11. It's all up for debate. It could be Laporte, but me and Joe kind of unanimously agreed that John Stones and Ruben Diaz, there's just something special about that connection. They work really well together, and it's just enjoyable. And then, of course, Kyle Walker. He's not young anymore, Kyle Walker, but when he was fit, healthy, and on form last season, absolutely smashed it. Covered our asses so many times last season against some serious wingers. Joe, this is usually the keeper and back four that we go for any big game and a preview for a fixture during the season. And I think they're all worthy of the best starting 11 spots they've been given. What do you think?
It's literally what we've been rolling with for the last 2 seasons, when we can, of course. I think the only room for change would be Laporte for Stones. I think that's the only thing that you could see change, and obviously it just depends which one's fit. Obviously, Laporte, when Diaz came in, he didn't play well. Stones was in, he took the place, he had it, and then Stones got injured. Laporte took his place, he played well, and Stones couldn't get back into the team. I think it really depends, that spot, on just who's available, who's playing better. I think Diaz is the nailed-on one there, and I think his partner is genuinely just who's available, who's fit, who's fully fit, and who's playing well. And I think you'll see the start of the season, Laporte will probably start the season, considering he was last season. He has his partner for most of it, but again, if he loses his place, then Stones is primed and ready to take that place. And I do truly believe that Stones should be that partner if everyone's on form. I do think he is, I wouldn't say criminally underrated, but I do think he's underrated. People tend to just go, he's not very good, he's had his injury problems, because they watch him at England, and it's just nonsense. He's a very, very good set. We're blessed to have 3 world-class centre-halves, and I mean, we could see a reality in which, I'm not saying that this is going to happen, I'm not saying how many times this is going to happen, but now that we are rumoured at least to be getting a natural left back, a left-footed natural left wing back, you could see a 5-back. You never know. You could see a 5-back. We ran it. We ran it about 4 years ago. The last time we saw it, because that's the last time that we actually had a competent left-footed natural left back. And there's a small chance we could see it again. We've got centre forward, we've got that left back. So maybe you could see all 3 of them in the team. I do truly believe that, again, that's the back 4 and the goalkeeper when everyone's on form. And I think most people agree with that at this point, that that's what works best, and why would you change it? I think the one question mark for me is how long's Walker going to keep going? And if he does tail off, then again, you just move Cancelo over to that side, and then you've got Cucurella to cover at that left back. So it's pretty seamless.
And that is a great segue for the second graphic we're going to pop up on screen for you to see right now, and make sure you get a good look at this, people, and analyze it, is our believed to be second string team. We're going to pop that up on screen for you to see right now. You can see everyone we selected for our second string. Make sure you're seeing my inverted quoted comma second string, potentially first string. It's all up for debate. But we want to talk about the back four we have in this team, which of course is... Actually, sorry, very first of all, Stefan Ortega, or is it Stefan? I'm not sure what his first name is. Ortega, anyway. He's coming over and he's signed for City, apparently, and he's going to be the second string keeper. As it stands, there's no real debate there. He is second string keeper. Looks good. Looking forward to seeing what he can do. But the back four is where it gets a bit juicy, Joe. Cucurella, as you alluded to, is someone who is potentially an incoming. It's looking like he will be an incoming, hopefully. And many people will say, why are you paying 50-odd million, 40-odd million, whatever it is, for a second string left back? Because there's a bit of a narrative to be seen here. And that, of course, is the reality initially is that Cucurella won't be starting left back. He has to face the facts that he won't be eclipsing Cancelo. He won't be the starting left back. That's just it. But the future for Cucurella outlined will be that aging Kyle Walker, inevitably, when he does get too old to play every week or has to leave or tails off, as Joe said, he will move into that left back starting position. And Cancelo, who you'll see in our second string team, is at right back, because he's obviously a natural right back and he can do a good job there as well. Ake, I know, was rumoured to be leaving. We didn't really know who else to put in. Luke Ambete is someone you could put in. Joe said it in the last video. He has just signed a new contract. I think he's actually quite a promising player. Luke Ambete, keep your eyes out for him. Laporte, Joe said it perfectly in his first few words there, which was that it's a week-on-week thing. It depends who's on form. Joe, this back four in the second string team, all of them are perfectly capable of playing for our first team in inverted quoted commas, but they all kind of have different roles, if you get me. They do, and they probably have different futures. If you're looking maybe forward, Cancelo and Cucurella are very much in the next few years of City rather than right now. Everything all our selections are based on right now. You know what I mean?
This is what we need. We need a squad. It's as simple as that. It's a squad game. Yeah, I said this in the last video as well. We have been blessed with the talent, but we haven't necessarily been blessed with necessarily the depth. And I think Cucurella is a great addition. Again, if Walker starts tailing off, he can, fit that role if we ever get rid of Walker. And also, a key point for me is the last couple of seasons, for how good Cancelo is and for how good he will undoubtedly, in my mind, continue to be. The last two seasons, in both of them, he has tailed off at the end of the season. He's been overused, he's been overworked, he's been played left, right, and not really centre, but I guess that's his role, isn't it, to come into the middle. But he's been overworked, and hopefully with Cucurella there, we'll give a bit of rotation, be able to take Cancelo out of the team and give him a bit of rest. And if he does tail off at the end of the season like he has done, then Cucurella can just come in, take his spot, challenge him for that spot. That's what we need, players challenging each other to make themselves better. The more the merrier. I think I've seen this with Walker. When Cancelo initially came into the club, Walker basically reached new levels because he knew, I've got competition now, I've got serious pedigree behind me that's waiting to take my place, and he hasn't looked back ever since. And I think, of course, it'd be nice to have a second second right back that isn't our first choice left back, but it is what it is. I mean, between the three of those fullbacks, I'm perfectly happy. Nathan Ake in there is a bit of a talking point because he's rumoured to leave at the moment. I don't think he will, personally. I don't think he will. I think he's here to stay. But he can also cover at left back. He has done before. Same with Laporte. He's played left back. Stone's played right back. It's like that. It's fluid. Players can play in different positions at this sort of level because they need to be able to if they are to be considered world class. And I think between, 7 players there, to 7 defenders there, that's an improvement over what we've already got. As much as I like Zinchenko, he's not a natural left back. I think that we can always improve, and I think if that is what we go into next season with, for our 7 defenders, 2 goalkeepers, obviously Stefan out the door on loan and Ortega in for free, I think our defence has got better.
listen, there's 7 defenders and 2 goalkeepers here, yeah? This is excluding Zinchenko. This is based on him leaving. If he stays, that's 8. There are 8 players I would be absolutely buzzing to go into our season with in our defensive areas, because like, people are always, the public and the media are always putting pressure on City to challenge for quadruples and trebles and kind of thing. If you want to challenge on all fronts and win every single game, depth is simply imperative. It has to be there. Your depth has to be there. We saw it towards the end of the season. We started to maybe drop off in performance. The draws against West Ham and that kind of thing. Players were dropping like flies. And if we were in Champions League final, if we were in cup finals, I maybe would have feared a little bit, because it would have been too much football for the lack of players we had. Anyway, moving back to our first 11, if you like. In midfield, very self-explanatory. This is based on Bernardo staying, of course, which we firmly believe he will. I know there's brief links of him to Barcelona. Apparently they're interested. Of course they're interested. He's not going, is what I'm saying. Rodri, De Bruyne, Bernardo. I don't think there is any moving these 3 from midfield, Joe. They don't need explanation. They're all absolutely crucial to the way we play. They are the engine room of this team. We don't need to go over them too much. What do you think?
No, I mean, we could pretty much just skip past them, to be honest. Yeah. We ended the season with that midfield 3, and again, we didn't end too strongly defensively, but that's not their role. Their role is offensive. Obviously, Rodri, for me, I've said this before again, he was my player of the season last year. It was a lot of people's player of the season last year. I think, was it De Bruyne who actually won it in the end? I know he won the Premier League player of the season. Bernardo Silva has 100 million price tag set on his head right now, so there's not a lot of move in it. As much as I'd like to see Foden, maybe Grealish in a midfield role, because I'd like to see what they're about in that position. There's not a chance with that midfield. I know you've got your Kroos, Modric, Casemiro that's just come off of the back of the Champions League, but right there, I think that is the best midfield 3 in Europe. I'm sorry, it's far too good, and long may it continue. That is incredible.
Those 3 are what we are going to call in this video the untouchables. You simply don't touch them. You don't move them out of their roles. They are it. They are the X factor in this team. It's set in stone. Moving into the second team, okay, we're going to see the midfield we have here. Obviously, very different. You have Phil Foden through the middle there, who is obviously very versatile player, very fluid. We put him there on the basis that we know he can play in midfield. He was originally set to be a midfielder, but kind of became a front 3 player last season through, I don't know, one reason or another. That's why we put him there. Gundogan, very unfortunate. I think in 98% of other clubs around the world, Gundogan would be in the starting 11, and that's just the way it is. That's just the way the cookie crumbles when you play for Manchester City. A club on top of the game right now, winning everything around them, bar the Champions League every single season. Even if you're a world class player, you're still not guaranteed your place. He would be guaranteed his place elsewhere. New boy, Calvin Phillips. Why have we put him in the second team? Similar to what I said about Cucurella a few minutes ago. Why are you signing players for 50 million for them to be second string? Depth, people. The overall point of this video is depth. You need depth in the squad. Phillips will come in, provide, similar to Ortega for Ederson and Cucurella for Cancelo, some challenges, and he'll give them something to think about. No, you don't want anybody to feel comfortable in their position. And Calvin Phillips can obviously play more progressive roles. You could almost actually even interchange who is 6 and 8 in this second string team between Gundogan and Phillips, because both of them can play 6, both of them can play 8. They're both very good in multiple positions. Very strong midfield. Foden, Gundogan, Phillips. Joe, I think all 3 of these players will start for most clubs around the world once again. All of them can, on their day, and can, over long periods of time, also be in the first string team if one of those 3 untouchables, as I call them, fall off for one reason or injury. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, you look at Kevin De Bruyne as a prime example of that injury. He usually gets an injury every season, which is unfortunate. But, I mean, if you look at the depth we have, it's not really an issue. The midfield has always been one of our strongest points. And we say this on this channel time and time again. You win your midfield battle, you win your game. And to have a midfield, essentially 5 players, because Foden's part of the front 3.
Stacked, Joe.
It's stacked, and then you look at the fact how you've got Palmer. He could drop into midfield if you wanted him to. McAtee as well. He could possibly get game time. I don't know how that one's going to turn out. Maybe he goes on loan. I don't know, but he can play there. Again, Grealish in the front 3. He could play in midfield. It's absolutely incredible the amount of talent that we are blessed with in this midfield 3. And again, similar with Well, you said Gundogan and Phillips, they can interchange. It's incredible. Phillips can also drop it as a centre half if we need the depth there for whatever reason. Obviously, Foden joins the front three. Bernardo Silva, I don't like him on the wing, but he can play in the front three. It's versatility, it's depth. It's amazing to be able to have a backup holding midfielder that has legs on him that can actually move about the football pitch. As much as I like Fernandinho and as much as I love him, Phillips is much more mobile. And look, it again, it's age as well. Like, of course, I said it on the last video again, I'm not too happy with losing experienced players, but Cucurella's like 23, 24. Phillips is like 26. These are not players who are in their prime yet. These are players who are about to reach their primes of their careers. So it's very exciting, and I think the business that we've done is exceptional. We've addressed what we've needed to address, and I almost feel bad for Phillips because, again, PSG were linked to him. I think Liverpool were linked to him. He'd probably get into PSG's team, let's be honest. Their midfield is not the strong part of their team, and he's coming to City and he's effectively like fifth choice.
When you said when you kind of alluded to Fernandinho not having a 37-year-old who can't move, my brain just threw back to that time we watched him play. Was it a right back or something against Real Madrid?
Vinicius Junior.
And we're all going, go on, Fernandinho, go on, Fernandinho. Listen, you're right, man. We're absolutely stacked with depth in midfield, and like I said with the defence, I'm absolutely ecstatic to move into the season with the options we have at our disposal in midfield. It really goes without saying, and I'll say this time and time again. I'll beat this drum all season. You want to challenge on all four fronts, which we do. You need your depth, and these, I think Pep has picked the perfect options. We spoke about how Phillips and Gundogan can interchange. Gundogan can play here, Foden can play up in the front three. Pep loves players who are versatile, can play in different areas of the pitch, and we're loaded with players who can do that. I bet you, I don't think he's done it before, but I bet you if we were really stuck, you could throw Cucurella into left side centre back. I believe these are the kind of players that Pep sees as options if needs be. Similar to Ake, who's obviously a left-sided centre-back, can play, at left-back, that kind of thing. Anyway, moving back to our starting first team 11, whatever you want to call it, into the front three. This is what we believe is going to be our three assassins next season. And I think at least the fella through the middle there, the big Norwegian guy, is kind of the first name on the team sheet. These are the lads that are going to get us the goals. Now, once again, up for debate, and we'll talk about the second-string players in a sec. Foden is, in my opinion, our best left winger of the club right now. I think through consistency and whenever he's performed, he has been the best. I think, you have Sterling, who's tipped to leave right now. He's obviously played there at times. I think it's kind of Foden's position right now, and I think it's kind of hard to argue that. Mahrez is someone who we are allegedly about to offer a brand new contract to, and for me, for one, I'm very happy with that. You cannot argue with Riyad Mahrez's big game output. First of all, he's a big game player, and his overall statistics. The guy scores a shed load of goals. And then through the middle, do I need to speak on this guy? He has to play. He has to play as a striker. This is Erling Haaland. This is one of, if not the world's best striker, definitely best up-and-coming striker right now. He's got to play. A lot of our attacking play won't necessarily be built around him, but a lot of it will be to facilitate him, Joe. What do you think?
I mean, we've just put the cherry on top of the cake, really, over the last couple of years. We've been dying out for this number 9, and it's like a bus. We've waited for one, we've got two. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Yeah, I mean, look, he's the Ferrari of this team. He's the brand new shiny toy. He's the guy that we're all looking forward to seeing next season. And I think if you get the service he has behind him in midfield that we just talked about, if you get the service from Foden and Mahrez into him, and again Cucurella on that left-hand side, when he comes into the team, the delivery is going to have to be pin perfect. But when it is, it's terrifying to think of what might happen. I'm so looking forward to next season. I can't wait to see him play. Obviously, that was still lingering in the back of my mind to give him that first season. As much as people are bigging him up to go and score 60 goals or whatever it is they think he might score in a season, just be patient with it. He might not start off the best.
We'll take 50. We'll take 50.
Well, we'll take 50 instead. It's fine. It's fine. I mean, look, if he gets injured or if he's not playing well, then I mean we've got cover on the bench. It doesn't matter. We've got so many options now. And again, I think the only negative thing is I would love to see Sterling with a Haaland, because I think a duo, the last time he was with a striker, the duo was absolutely incredible. He's putting up messy numbers, but if that's not to be, then Mahrez isn't really that bad, is he? I mean, big game player. He doesn't have to play well and he'll still get your goal. You saw that in the second leg of Madrid. I know we lost, but he didn't play particularly well. He still got a goal. Like, that's just what he does. He's a big game player. Experience as well. That is the one thing that we need to try and keep hold of as much as possible. We've letting players go is experience. He's got it. He's in his 30s, and I think give him another 2 years on his deal and happy days.
Yeah, listen, those three names are absolutely huge going forward. They're three assassins, and a lot of our joy next season will come through them. Listen, we're going to switch back to our second string team, if you like, and these are three players in the front three we have here that we should be very, very excited about for three different reasons. Three very unique positions all of them are in. We're going to start with Jack Grealish, because obviously he's the biggest name there at the minute. He's just finished his first season at City. First season syndrome should be out of the way, you would like to think. He is a player who will now, you saw it towards the tail end of last season, he was starting to come into his own. We were starting to go, yeah, Jack Grealish has arrived. Maybe from around the time that we beat Man United 4-1, that's when it started to be like, yeah, Jack Grealish is starting to find his feet a bit, and he only got better towards the end of the season. If the season was to be a bit longer, I think we would have seen an even better version of Jack Grealish. Be excited. Watch this space. Now, Julian Alvarez is someone who is brand new to European football, brand new to English football, brand new to speaking English. He is someone that we should be very excited about. Can play anywhere across that front three. We just have him through the middle because that's his most natural position. But the reality is he could play on the right-hand side, he could play on the left-hand side. And from what we've seen and all the reports and all news about him is that this guy is a born killer. This guy knows where the back of the net is, and he's going to provide us with another option in scoring goals, which, like Joe said, we've had a period there where we had almost no out-and-out finishers, and now two have come along in Alvarez and Haaland. And then finally, on the right-hand side, we have Cole Palmer, who is tipped to be a bit more of a feature next season in Manchester City's starting 11, or at least on a week-to-week basis. The word is that this guy is going to play a lot more. He has absolutely ripped it up in Premier League 2, has been very, very enjoyable to watch and very good when he's got his cameos or appearances in FA Cup games and the odd Premier League game. I watched him live one day when he actually scored and then went and played an academy game a couple of hours later and scored a hat-trick. The guy he's, if you ask me, he's on a very similar trajectory to Phil Foden. He's on that Project Foden kind of thing. You know, you ease him in for one season, you give him more game time the next season, and then bang, you start to see him really become a crucial player to this team. These three players could all on their day next season be first choice, but they're also very much players for the future. Joe, I'm very excited about all three of these players, all for the different reasons that I stated.
Yeah, it's three, not polar opposites, but it's three cases of, you know, get excited. Grealish had his pressure with his 100 million price tag. He came in. He didn't do overall too well, but again, first season syndrome, that's out the way. He's under what I would probably say is even more pressure to perform now that he's had that season. He's got to try and hit the ground running when he gets his opportunity, of course. Alvarez new in, we'll wait and see what happens with him. Of course, again, I'd be cautious with it. It's his first season here. He's very young. He's moving to a new country, a new league. It's night and day difference between the Argentinian league and the Copa Libertadores and the Premier League. So it could take him a while to adapt. But again, he scored 6 goals in a game one time. So just look forward to it. Look forward to it. That's all I can say. And Palmer, again, look forward to it. He's a player who could play multiple different positions. You know, got his limited features last season. But I think with the news that we're not going to try and replace Sterling when he goes, Palmer is, for me, should be given that opportunity. I think he's well within his right to be deserving of that opportunity to take his place in the squad. I'm not overly convinced by having him and Mahrez on that right-hand side because they're a bit samey. You know, if you need a game changer, it's not really worth switching them around because they're kind of similar players. But again, like it's very exciting, that secondary front three, in inverted commas, of course, because there's nothing secondary about any of these players, is really exciting. And I would like to see, obviously, when we do rotate things, I would like to see Grealish and Foden play together because they have very good chemistry. I'd like to see Palmer get more minutes than he did last season, and because I'm just so excited to see him. He played well when he played, and I think overall that squad is, again, it's not the most numbers, but the amount of quality in it is superior to most teams, if not all teams in the world.
Listen, people, we apologize if this video is a bit longer than you would have liked. We basically just wanted to come on and have a chat. We kind of talked about it as if it's first versus 11 or what would be our first team, but it's essentially a squad video. And we talked basically about all the different options we have. And we want you guys to definitely get below. First of all, leave a like, helps us massively. Don't forget that. And tell us what you think about these selections we made and what options we could look at, what formations we could look at. So much fluidity, so many options, so many exciting prospects. Of course, there's outgoings. We spoke about them in other videos, and it's sad to see them go. But moving forward, whether it's a transition or it's not, there's a lot to look forward to, people here. Let us know down below in the comments what you think, who you think should start, and what way we are going to look going forward. It is an exciting time to be a Blue, people. It really is an exciting time to be a Blue. Is it quad season? Is it quad season, or is it too early to talk about that? I don't know. Maybe we'll do a video on that. Get down below in the comments, leave a like, subscribe if you're new. On the road to 3K. Good night and God bless.